Hi, my name is Megan Campbell. This spring, our human neuropsychology class was presented with the opportunity to bring awareness to brain injuries through a documentary. 6 of us took it upon ourselves to participate in this project. We started by interviewing 3 individuals who had suffered from a stroke. With each of their consent, we videoed each interview to give insight into the daily struggles, amazing accomplishments, and family support.
Aphasia is a disorder that results from damage to the parts of the brain that contain language. Aphasia causes problems with any or all of the following: speaking, listening, reading, and writing. This is the general area in which lesions occur that result in aphasia. Typically, aphasia is inflicted by a stroke, but the lesion site can vary from patient to patient. However, no matter where the lesion site occurs, it almost always results in a language deficit. These effects can be disfluent speech, mildly impaired repetition, but usually comprehension is spared. These deficits are reflected in each of the following individuals. Wayne formerly worked at the Pentagon as a computer analyst who eventually suffered a stroke. Wayne, as well as his doctors, believe that the long hours and high stress of his job contributed to his injury.
Well, I'm Wayne Thacker, and I've had a bit of a stroke, and I'm getting a whole lot better, but I still I have to talk very specifically, and you can already tell that I'm having a hard time talking all the time. But other than that, my mind works fine, and my mind works good, and then my computer stuff, that's fine. I mean, but I just can't talk, which is a issue, and I can't write at all. It's very frustrating me because I can't even write my name and stuff like that. I'm spelling it one at a time. So that's kind of where I'm at. That's the only thing I ever did was work. Worked and the girlfriends and that type of thing. That was fine, but that was the main thing. That's the reason I didn't marry whenever I was 35 years old for the first time, because I worked all the time. Mm-hmm. It's also, whenever I'm looking back at it, oh man, I really screwed up. But that's the only thing I knew how to do.
Mm-hmm. Francisco, a hard-working bilingual father of 2, suffered a stroke in 2008. This stroke led him to exhibit aphasia, apraxia, and a partial paralysis of his right side. His symptoms ultimately resulted in the loss of his fluency in English, but did not compromise his comprehension of either language.
It happened August 3rd in 2008. My mom and dad were at Conn's in Burleson, and they were looking for a stove or something, some clients. And I think she was going to ask him a question, and he didn't answer. And then she turned around, and his face was kind of drooping from one side, and there was like saliva coming out. And
I think so, because he was working too much.
He worked for Pancho's Mexican Buffet, and that man owns like Ten Romas, IHOPs, just a bunch of different restaurants, and he worked maintenance. He did everything, AC, refrigerator, just anything that went wrong, he fixed it. And so they would call him
day and night.
He worked 7 days a week. He worked
6 to 9, 6 to 8.
And he was a little bit. Yeah. Somehow he managed to make it to all our school functions, but he worked a lot. And I think that was a big factor, because the doctors could never find anything. He didn't have high cholesterol. He didn't have anything that they looked for, what all the normal causes or whatever. But we left the hospital, and they told us we don't know why.
Vicky, a former pharmacist and mother of 2, suffered 2 strokes 10 years ago. Vicky's supporting husband, daughter, and son have proven to be the source of her strength and exceptionally positive outlook on life. Her stroke resulted in aphasia and partial paralysis of her right side.
I work at the pharmacy, and so I went And I went to my job, and it's in the hospital, and we're working, and so my arm it just drops, and so I knew something's wrong, and so I went to the ER, and so then I can't speak, and so anyway, and then they tell me you have a stroke.
She had a stroke, and then they took her to downtown Harris, and
Fort Worth.
in Fort Worth, and they basically said that in her carotid artery, they had basically like a ribbon that was floating, a clot that kind of looked like a ribbon blowing in the wind. They thought that a small part of that had broken off, so they had to go in and remove that ribbon. And they came back and said it looked like everything was going to be okay, but then she threw another clot, and this time it was full carotid blockage, and then she suffered a major stroke.
Hi, my name is Annie Fiedler, and in this documentary, I will be discussing with you the everyday struggles that these patients face. Things that we take for granted, such as talking, writing, reading, or even going to your favorite restaurant and ordering through the drive-thru. In the next few slides, you are about to see the struggles that Wayne, Francisco, and Vicky face every day.
To be able to talk with something like that here, that y'all will be able to talk with me. A lot of people would like that and talk with me, instantly know what you say, very quickly figure out, oh, that's what you're at. You'll know very quickly how you're going to do. If I can write something, some people can write. Some people can't talk. Sometimes everyone's different, just a little bit different, probably a lot, probably. So that's, mine is, I can't write. That's kind of what it is. That's the big thing. The policeman, they pull me over, I can talk to the policeman fine, especially with the policeman, you're instantly. This is horrible. This is, you don't want to ever do something like that. In the whole world, if you can ever do something like that, don't. I have to.
Okay.
Just me. I mean, no. I mean, they help me. I mean, because I want her to talk. Just I should be like normal things, and I'm not. And they figure Robin, my brother, and my brother, everybody, several people, everybody talks with me, and all of a sudden they realize they can't. No, they talk with me. And they're realizing really quick that they can't talk with me very good. So then they have. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, we're just talking. We're just talking, or me and a couple of people. That's fine. But if somebody was talking about a different subject or something like that, and all of a sudden I'm realizing the different world. I had never, I haven't talked with somebody or do some situation. You're doing it. Then I'm remembering. I have to remember it together, and then it takes me a long time. Sometimes a long time, a couple of minutes. It takes me a long time.
I think just the communication.
Okay.
I think he just communication. I think.
What
And
about
for him, everything. I mean,
So,
it's everything.
so bueno, cuando es chiquito, tampoco.
Ustedes cuando estuvieron bebitos.
He
Nada,
doesn't.
nada.
he doesn't remember things. He doesn't remember some things that happened last week, and then he doesn't remember when we were little. So I think for him the biggest toll is emotionally. And yeah, it's just
¿Me puede recordar de todo? Sí, sí.
if he could remember everything, I think he would be better emotionally if he could remember it. He was never going to be the same.
Es la última. Es la última.
Oh, yeah. You said that was
Your last one. Okay. See, I love his sense of humor. Okay, so I'm trying to understand this from my perspective because just looking at him, he looked normal.
right.
And so it just looked like it's a language barrier. Like I don't understand his Spanish, and I'm trying to relate to him through Spanish. So from your perspective, like is his speech slower? Is slower? So when he's talking to you guys,
Sí.
it's
Yeah. It's because if he tries to talk too fast, it's like he gets tongue-tied or something. It
Okay.
it doesn't come out. You can't really understand it. If he slows down, then we can understand it. And it also goes back to a lot of the times he can't think of the word either.
okay.
So he can't. He's trying to tell us something, and sometimes he just can't. He can't think of the word. Like he knows what it is, but he just can't tell you what the word is. And names too.
Se me olvidaron muchas cosas.
He forgets a lot of things.
Oh, okay.
Communicates, I'm slowly thinking my speech, and so, what else?
You're doing great.
What would you say one of the biggest struggles has been?
Well, my speech, because I'm Chick-fil-A, I'm gonna order that, and I can do kinda, but, you go into the store, and I don't wanna have a stroke, I can't talk, but I do that, but,
Hi, my name is Ronnie Lee, and in this documentary I'll be highlighting the emotional and physical aspects of each patient interviewed. As one could imagine, your emotional and physical state can change dramatically after the onset of a stroke. Simple tasks like driving, working, or even having a regular conversation can become daily endeavors. But as you'll see throughout the documentary, with a little bit of perseverance and the proper rehabilitation, the once lost attributes will be able to be regained.
I was in the hospital for 5-6 weeks, and for the first, a month and a half, I really didn't know I didn't know what my name was. I didn't know where I was at. I wanted to go home. In fact, I tried to get home several times, and they kept throwing him back, because I didn't realize where I was at. I mean, I was in a lockdown situation, and so the first couple of weeks or month or so, I didn't know where I was at, and then little by little, in the next couple of months, I knew where I was at, who I was. All my memory is here. All of a sudden, I realized I'm still here. But I couldn't talk at all, and I couldn't say the right things. It's amazing. I almost died, and little by little it came back. Except for now, I just can't write, and I can talk with you fine, but that's a baby. I think I'm trying to say the right thing.
Right, and once you started realizing that things weren't going to be the same for a long time, did that hit you pretty hard? Was there a time that you were really depressed where you didn't know if you wanted to keep going with rehab? And
Yeah, the first 6 weeks, you know, I hate to say that. I don't want to say that the really thing was basically, let me die, please. And I hate to say that because I don't want to write anybody down and do something like that, but just let me go, you know. I mean, this is really, really, I mean,
So it's just your speech?
yeah, I can
that's
talk.
Okay.
No, you just ask me anytime. I can tell you who I was with, if we were young, what girlfriends I've been with, and that type of thing. I have good friends. A couple of them have passed away now, and I can tell you when, how, everything.
Cisco suffered apraxia immediately following his stroke. Apraxia is the inability to execute learned purposeful movements despite having the desire and the physical capacity to perform the movements.
And that was it. And for a little while afterwards, we kept going back to Harris to get physical therapy. But then other than that, we just kind of did things at home. And then one day we turned around and he was on the other couch, not the one we left him on. So he kind of started walking on his own. I guess when it happened, for a while there at first, like he couldn't do anything. He couldn't even like barely open his mouth or even make any kind of noises, anything. And then slowly they kept working on that, and then he couldn't walk when we left, and he could make a few noises. We had a bell. That's how he would let us know that he needed something. But it's been a long road. He's come along.
While we were at the hospital, there was occasions where he would actually get up from the hospital bed and walk like to the restroom. And then I guess after we got home is when the movement was completely gone. So there was a small gap where he had function of his legs, where he would get up on his own and use the restroom. He fell once at the hospital, right? But he was able to move. Whereas at home, once we got home, it took him a while for him to even be able to move his legs.
Many patients with brain trauma that exhibit paralysis will endure lifelong physical therapy in an attempt to regain pre-stroke motor skills.
What kind of exercises were they doing?
Like stretching his legs, and then like trying to lift his
arms,
stretch
like
ball.
try to lift the arms and move the legs.
Were there like speech exercises y'all were doing at home and things like
Yes, but he barely can do that.
that? Okay.
I think it started out, he started, I guess, finding his voice again. They would have him, like, sing. He would, like, he could, whenever he's saying something, you could understand it better than if he tried to just say the words. If he kind of sang it to you, it came out a lot clearer. He's a big joker. I mean, he is, but before he was like the life of the party. He never met a stranger. He was very, very social. And I think that's why the communication is probably the hardest thing. Because I guess because we're around him more, we can understand him. And family slowly has starting to understand him, but a lot of the times he just can't communicate what he wants to say. I think he tries to talk too fast, and that's one of the things that I know they work with him in therapy is to just slow down and just things like that. I think before, because I love he's the greatest man ever. There's just, it's like the stroke took something from him that
What do you think is the biggest change that y'all noticed? What that took something?
Personality. He's slowly getting that back.
For him, everything is, he always said that, it is true, it changed everything. He will never say, it will never going to be the same again. And we know that.
One of the greatest emotional tolls is accepting the reality that they must become dependent on others.
Yo creo que no.
He doesn't think so.
Pero sí que sí.
Well,
I believe that after he started moving, I think that was more of his biggest concern. As far as I know, he didn't want us to rely.
he didn't want to rely on
He didn't want
us.
to rely on us to have to move him around and move him from the couch to his room, to use the restroom, to take him to bathe and whatnot. So I think that in itself, I mean, the speech is something, but I think the having to move,
The independence.
was bothering him more than anything.
Right. So collectively, as a family, could you see a big difference when he started getting more mobile and maybe speaking a little bit more? Was there a
Yes.
big difference emotionally from when he was more stoic, I guess?
I would say so, yeah. He's very stubborn. And he was stubborn before, but he's way more stubborn now. Way more stubborn. And I think it had a lot to do with that he was dependent on everyone, you know, and I think that he was very angry. He was. And I think, I would say he's still a little angry. Just because, I mean,
Right.
with the situation.
Francisco's stroke left him struggling with bilingual aphasia, which leads to a loss of one or both languages and the ability to communicate in the languages. Although research is not definite on the exact cause of this, bilingual patients use more areas of their brain for language and communication, and their ability to recover through standard patterns of recovery or non-standard patterns of recovery depends on the location and their capability to overcome the interference of the lesion. How the language was learned, how long it was learned for, and the environment the languages were learned in are all factors that can lead to different forms of recovery in bilingual aphasia.
No.
Well,
Speak
they
it.
say
Yeah.
when you are if you learn English and Spanish before 4 years old, if something happened to your brain, you never lose that. But if Spanish was the first language of him, is why he speaks Spanish and the English erased from the brain, is what they say.
It has something to do with the part that it affected, I think, like there's some, I don't know, it's like
Do
the
you know
language part or something.
Where his stroke was?
It was
even
like
just
right
in general?
here,
Okay.
in the left to the right, yeah. That's what, and then he was, his right side is still weak. And that's the side that he couldn't move.
Register.
When I took him home from the hospital,
You knew immediately?
I think because of his state of mind, I think, because you could tell that it crushed, you know, it just took something from him. And I think even if he were to slowly get everything back, it's just going to be something that it's just always going to be there. Because they even told
Hi, my name is Antoinette Gatson, and my main objective while filming this documentary was to focus on the family and to discuss the role and the importance of having a strong, positive family or support system. In this documentary, you will notice how the three patients each will utilize a different method of support, ranging from family to friends, support, therapy sessions, and or faith. This documentary is a clear depiction of how essential having a positive support system aids in the healing process. Thank you.
Wayne's support system is centered around his mother, Robin, his ex-wife, and his few closest friends.
I worked really hard, but I don't have a lot of friends. I have 3 or 4 friends that I've known from whenever I was young. And other than that, I don't have anybody, friends and all that stuff. They you know, you kind of go away. So there's probably people that could help that situation better than I could on that situation.
I mean, who do you have as a support system?
Well, Robin she was married of mine. We were here for 1991 to 2000. That's about 10 years. And then I left. And so Robin's probably good. My mom does everything. all my money, that type of thing. Robin's figured out what, all of a sudden she realizes that she was figuring all these people down. Whenever I first had the stroke, and Robin's looking at all these people going, okay, you're gonna have to go to my house. You're gonna have to go to your house because we're the only one. Otherwise, I would have been in a nursing home. I'm trying to say it over and over and over. I would have been in a nursing home. Just I wouldn't talk and say anything like that. So Robin has made me. My brother was also my brother was, but no, we have a hard time. She and I have a hard time. We get butts heads very quickly because that's what she does and that's what I do.
Mr. Wayne, do you have children?
No,
You
No, because I had to work. I worked hard, and that's the biggest. The things I really wish I would have done different. That's the only thing I would have really done different. I would have had at least 1 or 2 kids, and with now by myself, and I knew that this was going to happen to me. I knew it.
Francisco has an entirely different type of support system, one that highlighted the positive aspects of his stroke by bringing his family closer together than ever before.
I admire the family unity that you guys have, and I just wanted to know, like, overall, as a family, how have this impacted you all in any way, just emotionally, or have it made you draw closer?
Positively for me, definitely. I would consider this
a positive.
Has it made you a lot closer?
Yes.
Oh, too much.
Yes, it did. I'll admit, growing up, my dad and I were closer. I think because I was the oldest and we shared a lot of interests.
And because she always talking. They'll see it on.
He says that people don't come over, like they don't. I guess they don't reach out to him as much as they used to. I mean, slowly there's. They always, there's that whatever saying is, you know who your friends are, whenever you and that's exactly what happened. Family also. So they used to come when they needed something, and now
especially in summer when somebody needs to fix the AC fixed or something was wrong with the AC, they go.
Vicky utilizes the strong commitment of her loving husband and children to help her improve every day. She also is very involved with her church, which has helped her overcome many obstacles and become, and I quote, rock star to all of those whom she has inspired through her positivity.
I didn't think that she would make it through the night, and she did. And things have gotten much better.
And I have 2 children, and Evan is he's a senior right now, but how long?
He was in 4th grade, and our daughter was in 7th grade.
Well, let's see. My family, all the time, every day, I think, oh, my stroke, I could do, a long time ago, I can do this. And so I think about, in my head, all this thing I can't do. But I think a positive thing,
Hi, my name is Kylie Corson, and I'm here to guide you through the positive aspect of having aphasia and the goals and accomplishments that these patients are able to achieve while dealing with such a challenging injury. Although the daily struggles of aphasia can be overwhelming, as well as physically and emotionally exhausting, they make large improvements through therapy, family support, and hard work in all aspects of their lives. From starting from scratch to having to fully relearn even the days of the week or how to walk again, these patients make great strides after suffering a stroke. They all have made very diverse and large advances in their lives, and they all have goals and objectives to further improve their day-to-day routines.
Helps. It's been now I've got a couple of years. I got different people all the time, 2 or 3 weeks or months at a time, 3 or 4, and that's when I was, if we do something like that, like they had talked to me, for example, this is, whenever I first started, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you had to start all over again. Mm-hmm. So, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I mean, I had to do everything all over again. And these people that, whenever I went my license, I had to say these things so that you could do the things again. And I did this. I did it right. I mean, because you have to get your license. I knew that. I need to, no matter what, I had to get my license. Because if I can't do that, I'm going to sit in a nursing home somewhere. Anyway, I'm not. Just try to say the right things again for me so that we can just move on. Say the right thing for me.
Just my question?
Yeah.
Just like what you think your biggest accomplishment since then.
I guess a lot of things is the people are, most of them, they're all good. Everybody I know has been good. They're just different. Like this, the first one was getting your name and the alphabet and that type of thing. That was, if they hadn't done that, I would have been, there's so many things that has helped me so much. There's everybody that do something like that, you're going to be good, that helps somebody all the time, no matter what. You're going to help somebody with all your work that you've done like that.
So being able to get your license, being able to speak, and be able to actually, function when you were not able to function before.
Right, yes.
To talk more.
Okay.
And for us to always be by his side, no matter what.
Y'all are doing great at it now. Y'all are doing great at it now.
It's not easy. Like my daughter said, you have to work. He don't listen to me or Frankie, but when I just had enough, I call her.
In
4 or 5 years from now.
What do you think you'll be?
Hablar más.
¿Sientes que vas a hablar más?
Más.
You think he'll talk more?
Yes.
And you think that you'll gain
Vicky's children were young when she suffered her stroke, causing a huge impact for most of their lives. Vicky's children have played a great role in her motivation to accomplish her goals. Her children are now chasing their dreams to help others such as Vicky. Her daughter is currently studying speech-language pathology. The next clip shows their parents' great appreciation for the help their children have given them.
Kids, it was an adjustment for them, basically, half of their life, that Vicky's been post-stroke, and so they've been wonderful.
What has been your biggest accomplishment since your stroke, whether physically, emotionally?
Well, I drive, and then 3 years ago, no, I can't drive 3 years. Help me out here.
She wasn't able to drive for, it was 3 years after the stroke, and then she retook her test, her driving test, and passed. So to me, that was one of the biggest steps. That was, imagine when you got your license when you're 16, triple that.
Go to this school, and they're really nice, 2 times a week. And I'm used to, I'm arm, I do that in my leg and my speech, but now just speech. So.
Which she has a good friend that he cannot even read to himself. So, and he's, so feel fortunate to be able to, that she's able to read and comprehend it.
But, they text me all the time, my children, and thank God I can do that. And so.
My name is Leanne Demon, and today you have been granted insight into the strong and promising futures of 3 individuals. You have now heard their stories, the highest peaks of achievements, and the absolute lows of irreversible losses. As you saw, each of them had their own goals, dreams, and hopes for the future. But shockingly, they all unknowingly shared one common goal. This goal was not materialistic, not for personal gain. It was an act of pure selflessness. This one common desire shared by all 3 individuals and their families was quite simply acceptance. One of the greatest struggles each of these individuals face is adjusting back into a society that they now feel exiled from. Simple tasks such as ordering food become an embarrassment when they can't even ask for fries and are met with condescending annoyance by the cashier. But this documentary is meant to raise a question. Who should truly be embarrassed? The 3 determined and persistent individuals here with us tonight? Or the oblivious and unaware people that surround us in society?
Each of them unknowingly shared this one common goal, to raise awareness of brain trauma, an awareness that will hopefully be paralleled by empathy, acceptance, and most importantly, respect. Because in all honesty, these 3 incredible individuals deserve far more respect than we could possibly grant them in a 60-minute documentary. They overcome obstacles every single day that many of us will never face in our entire lives. So in respect to them and their common goal, we created this documentary with one objective: to raise awareness about brain trauma, aphasia, and apraxia.
Seems like I'm a little bit more with some people because y'all wanted to know. Y'all want to know. Most people don't care. At least y'all want to. You want to know. You're gonna get a grade. That doesn't make any difference. It really doesn't make any difference at all. But you sounds like you were all nice and talked with me, and that's the whole world that you actually talk with somebody. Because most of the people out here in the world, they don't, people just don't really care that much. I don't think that much. I mean, I don't want to know, but you don't really.
Here are the 3 ways that we felt would best accomplish this common goal. The first way is knowledge. What may be interpreted as disrespect or rudeness is often just a reflection of lack of knowledge. Although it is not ideal, many individuals simply do not know the effects of brain trauma and how they are exhibited by people on a daily basis. So we think that the first and foremost importance is to educate individuals about what aphasia and apraxia are and how they are expressed. The second way is acceptance. Although this is more difficult than simply stating facts to educate, it is still achievable. Acceptance and tolerance starts with each and every single one of us. The discomfort and exclusion they feel cannot continue to persist. So all of us have accepted the challenge of promoting an acceptance and respect for brain trauma patients within our personal communities. Now we would like to extend that challenge to each of you. Simple changes in your daily routine can make a world of difference to someone struggling with brain trauma. So we ask that the next time you see anyone having difficulties or even just enjoying their day, smile at them or offer help. What may be a 1-minute task for you can limit them significantly. The third way is equality. Another idea shared by all 3 individuals and their families is equality. As important as education, awareness, and tolerance are, the greatest desire they have is just to be treated normal. Now, although this trauma does affect them daily, it is a part of their past. They are new, stronger individuals looking to be treated that way. They are no different than they were prior to their traumas. They enjoy the same things, they have the same sense of humor, and expect nothing different from everyone around them. So our final objective is just a simple reminder. Treat them like you would anyone else. They don't expect any more or less, just to be the same. So in conclusion, I would just like to immensely thank our families for participating and granting us the incredible opportunity to create this documentary. We hope that it has been as positive an experience for all of you as it has been for us. Thank you so much for giving us a glimpse into your lives and allowing us to see the determined, fun, and kind individuals you all are.